The cost of living in this country is currently, it's not going to be, it is currently unsustainable. And there are people that they know this, but then they'll still look at somebody else that's struggling and then tell them they're not doing good enough. I want you to imagine somebody that makes $75,000 a year. That's a pretty high up wage.
That is a pretty solid wage, $75,000 a year. Not bad.
In terms of like top earners in this country, $75,000 a year. And we're going to go through some things here. This is a person with no debt outside of a car. And please don't hit me with the you can go buy a car for. Shut up. You can't. Shut up. Stop saying ridiculous.
But you can buy a car for cash. I mean, you can do that. I think you can. I did. I mean, I also bought this car when I was in college, so I had the benefit of living on a campus or, living with my parents. So yeah, I bought that car since I got my Toyota Camry in college, so I wasn't really out here in the real world without a car.
An entry level decent car is $30,000.
Why do you need to buy a $30,000 car? I don't understand that. Let's see if you can buy something cheaper. I think you can buy something cheaper. Honestly, I just don't feel like you need a car. Look how expensive these cars are. That's crazy. And like I said, we bought a car recently and it was an expensive car. But it was within budget. It was bought with the 20% down, the 3-year loan, and not more than 10% of our income. But it still does take a chunk of money that could go to better places. We're still investing the same amount that we were investing before the vehicle. We're just saving a little bit less. 1,700 something cars. Camry for 39 miles, 17,000. 18,000 for a Highlander. Come on, 2009 for 191 miles. My 2002 Camry went to 240,000 miles and it was still running. And you can look at the estimated payment depending on what you do with it. But let's just break one down real quick. Let's see. We don't need a car that has 100,000 plus miles on it. There's nothing wrong with that, especially depending on what kind of car you have. And you have to get it checked out by mechanics. Make sure you're buying it from a reliable place. You can get a 2018 Toyota Camry. It has 158,000 miles, but Toyota Camrys go forever. They go for a long time. You have to look at the longevity of the type of vehicle you're buying. You have to do your research. Let's go right here. Let's look at this. 2020 Toyota Camry LE. Simple car. It looks actually pretty nice from the outside. Simple. Not too much technology going on. Little display here. Probably doesn't have navigation. Maybe it has Apple CarPlay. Who knows? You have your backup camera, which comes standard in a lot of cars now. In all cars, really. I don't think you have leather seats. Are these even leather? They're not. I don't think. No, those aren't leather. So you don't have the leather seats. You don't have all that fancy stuff. You don't have the full panoramic sunroof. You might not even have a sunroof here, but you have a vehicle that is reliable and it's going to get you from point A to point B. But people don't want that. They want the $30,000 one. They want the brand new vehicle when they don't need that. So you have your payment right here, okay? I don't like to look at cars based on the payment. I like to look at the entire price of the vehicle, which is what everyone should do. You look at the entire price of the vehicle. What's your credit score? Let's say it's good, okay? We're going to put 20% down. But we want to put this thing on 36 months. And we're going to put 20% down. So we're going to put about $3,000 down. Let's say we put 4. So you have a $426 a month payment on a $16,000 car. Now, is that within 8 or 10% of your income? That would be around $4,200 a year. And you have to just see if that's within 10% of your yearly income. So this is a ideal rule that I like to use when buying a car. You can put more down. Say you put freaking $6,000 down, $363 a month for your payment. That will be paid off in 3 years. You're paying the least amount of money in interest when you go with something like this. Or if you can pay for it in cash, that'd be great. And you can maybe get a $5,000 car or $10,000 car before you transition to this next vehicle. But people don't want to drive something like this. They don't want to drive, this is a nice car. You can get something even cheaper and something that's, a little less shiny, a little less with less years on it. Maybe you get a 2012 Toyota Camry, but this is a viable option instead of going for that $30,000 car that you don't need. So I don't know what this guy's talking about that you need a $30,000 car, but let's just continue.
So this person who puts $200 a month into insurance and they pay 5% into their 401k because shut up, people should be able to put money into their retirement.
As you should put money into your retirement.
Because if you're not doing it now, You're never going.
And when your car is not super expensive or brand new, you're not paying as much as insurance. For example, we just got this brand new car, so we're paying a lot more in insurance than we were when we had our two used old cars.
Get to start doing it later. So after those two things come out of their paycheck and their taxes are paid, they bring home $53,850 a year from a $75,000 paycheck. Average rent in my state for a one-bedroom apartment, because an adult should be able to live by themselves, $1,700.
That's crazy. And, you know, we do live in a cheaper state. We're in Michigan, and you could definitely find areas that are cheaper. You can find areas that you're renting for $1,500 or $1,200 and cheaper. But just because you are an adult doesn't mean that you deserve to have your own place. These guys I know, they moved from an apartment to a roommate situation so they can save more money, and they are a full-fledged adult.
That car payment at 6% for an entry-level, very reasonable sedan, nothing fancy. Car payment's $579 a month.
But again, you don't need a $30,000 car. And we just saw that if you put down $6,000 on a $16,000 car on a 3-year loan term, what was it, like $300 or $400 a month?
Car insurance, $240 or so a month for a lot of vehicles in this day and age.
It can be.
You're a young person, you've got a nice job, but the insurance companies still want to screw you over. Food.
This is why you shop insurance. I'm not saying it's not expensive out here, because it's crazy expensive, but there are some things that you can do to weather the storm. Shop insurance. We just switched our insurance because the car insurance was crazy. So we just switched our insurance and it dropped it almost $200 just by switching insurance. I only did this switch because I talked to one of my colleagues at work who had cheaper insurance for a new car, and I'm like, what? How do you get this? So I called the insurance company that day and got it switched over that day, and it's going to go into effect later this month. So I don't play games. I need to get my expenses as low as possible so I can continue to save and invest for my future. I need to get my expenses as low as possible, and you should too.
You only cook at home. You never, ever go out. You only cook at home, and you only eat decent quality food, because a human being should be allowed to eat decent quality food. You pay $879 a month.
I think he's inflating a lot of things. Like I said, I'm not dismissing that it's expensive out here, because it is. But $800 something for one person? What are we talking about? For me and my wife and our child just entered the chat, we're paying maybe $500 a month. If you're in a situation where it's tough to live, you know, the cost of living super high, then we're eating freaking rice and beef, rice and beans and beef, rice, beans and chicken. We're eating spaghetti. We're eating ham sandwiches. We're not going out here getting prime steaks. We're not going out here getting salmon. Don't have to have no extravagant meal. I mean, if you're in a tough situation, you can literally do this. You can eat. Like, I don't mind going to work and then bringing a lunch, and that lunch being rice, beef, and spaghetti sauce or something like that. Like, that's fine with me. That's good food that is healthy for you. It's not too fattening, and it's not too expensive.
You spend $250 a month in gas.
$250 for one person? Are we talking about one person? How far are you living? I don't know. I think he's inflating a lot. Do you have a Ford F-150, or do you have a Toyota Prius or a Toyota Camry? What are we talking about?
Wear and tear on your car, $100 a month. $80 for your phone, $80 for your...
$80 for your phone. I pay $60 for 2 phones. We have Mint Mobile. Come on. There's a lot of ways that you can cut these little expenses. There's a lot of ways that you can cut these little bills down. Switch insurance, get Mint Mobile, or just a phone plan like that. Actually, I think I have a link down below where you can sign up for Mint Mobile. It's a great product. It's a great phone plan. It works with, I think, T-Mobile towers. And like I said, for one line, it's maybe $30. So, but you pay yearly, so you want to be sure that when you pay yearly, you're putting money aside for the next year. So money should be automatically put to a certain account so you can pay for this Mint Mobile bill. You're basically paying your bill every month, but to yourself. So when the bill comes up, you can pay for it in full again.
You make $75,000 a year, and outside of a car payment, you have zero debt. How much money you have left over annually, a $75,000 way? You do nothing. You don't own a Netflix. You don't go out on a date. You don't pay to go to a park. You don't go watch a movie. You do nothing. If you can't find it on the internet for free, you don't get to do it. You can't cook it at home for your $800. You don't get to do it. You have $3,700 left over annually. That's like $320 a month. And there's going to be, well, that's $300. Shut up. Shut your stupid, contrarian word mouth. That's not a doctor bill. because God knows just because we have insurance doesn't mean that we don't still pay far out the ass when we go to the doctors.
Life is expensive, and I'm not dismissing that, but there are a lot of things you can do to lower your bills, to lower your expenses. Is life really that expensive, or are a lot of these things self-inflicted wounds? So let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.